I'm Casey Medill. I'm Elizabeth Mai.
And I'm Shirley Platt.
And we are Kotaka.
Take a moment to look at the stage I'm standing on, approximately from myself to Evan to the wall. Now use this as the foundation to build your dream home. You might have to sacrifice a couple of things to fit all of your dreams inside this box, but I think you can make it fit. And of course, it wouldn't be your dream home without your family there. So add your children, your spouse, and your mother-in-law. And then, now, what we have is you, your dream home, your entire family, in about a 10 by 15 foot space with probably no walls. Now take out the toilet. Take out the windows, the ventilation, the light, the potable water, and start poking holes in your roof. And then there's a rainstorm that doesn't seem like it'll stop for months. Has water started to pool at your feet? When the rain does stop and the sun comes out, it gets unbearably hot. You step outside for just a moment, for a breath of fresh air, or maybe some time away from your mother-in-law. And what you're faced with is identical houses cramping in on you from all directions, maybe half a meter between you and the next home. This is life in a slum.
So according to the Indian Registrar General, slums are residential areas where dwellings are unfit for human habitation by reasons of dilapidation, overcrowding, faulty arrangements and design of such buildings, narrowness or faulty arrangement of street, lack ventilation, light, or sanitation facilities, or any combination of these factors which are detrimental to the safety and human health. Within Bangalore, there are 597 slums. Within these slums, there are 1 lakh households, and within these households, there are 6 lakh people. This accounts for 10% of the Bangalore population.
To reiterate, these homes are poorly ventilated, flood every rainy season, and are frequently toxic due to asbestos usage in the roof. They're dark, they're cramped, and they're hot. This is largely due to the overdependence on reinforced concrete as a construction material. If you know anything about the cement industry, you know that India is the second largest producer of cement on earth. This is insane because 98% of that cement remains in India and 65% goes directly to housing. These might seem like terrifying numbers when you look at them, and they are, because a quarter of the greenhouse gas emissions from India come directly from the construction industry. This in no small part is due to reliance on the cement used in reinforced concrete all over India. Unfortunately, these concrete homes are also not the best for human or environmental usage, because these low-income families will also feel the impacts of climate change most heavily. Impoverished people in hot climates are the first to understand the grave effects of climate change. Fortunately, there are a variety of non-governmental organizations that are focused on solving these problems. These include Selco, who we've worked with at length for the past 2 months, and their partners, Hasiru Dala, a few of whom are here today, and Fadina. Now, these organizations work to improve living in these communities by switching the mentality from using reinforced concrete, which is very uncomfortable as it gets incredibly hot inside these homes, and pretty expensive for these communities, to low-bearing structures, which are cheaper, more environmentally friendly, and stay cooler. Now,
This is Indira. She's building a new home with the help of the Sirudala and Selco Built Environment team. Due to the community's aspirations to build a proper home, which to them consists of a column structure, Indira has had to change her home design from load-bearing walls to a column structure. She has been trying hard to convince her neighbors to change their perception about the structure, but owing to the delicate balance within the community, and in order to better buy in with the community for future projects, Hasiru Dala and Selco agreed to change the structure of the home. This has greatly delayed this project, and has postponed Indira from getting the home and the living conditions that she dreamed of. The problem is that there is a lack of knowledge and acceptance of new, sustainable, and affordable materials, designs, and methods. This lack of knowledge creates resistance. The solution is effective education and focused engagement. We are Kotaka, a sustainable consulting firm that focuses on community outreach for NGOs that are focused on building in low-income communities and building with sustainable materials. We believe NGOs should allocate their resources towards solving the problems that they have defined without having to spend time on issues where they lack expertise. Architects and NGOs should be able to focus on their trades and not spend time on graphic design.
We've prepared a sample 3-month timeline of what our outreach could look like for one of these NGOs. It would start with the first month, where a beneficiary is identified. Here we begin to build trust in a community by doing frequent visits, and we also try and explain to them what their house could look like and change their perceptions of what's aspirational by sharing pictures of beautiful homes made from different materials. Once the design phase starts in the next month, we go in with most of our outreach materials at this time to try and prevent delays from occurring during the construction phase. These include posters comparing materials, such as load-bearing versus concrete, on a variety of different aspects. As you can see, in some of our most important areas, durability, cost, and thermal comfort, the load-bearing materials far outweigh what you could do with reinforced concrete. We also compare things such as roofing materials and show how they've been implemented versus the more dangerous materials people are used to seeing in their houses. And we include homeowner testimonials in this time to share with our future beneficiaries how people just like them are enjoying their current homes. This is when we would show a before and after video to help these people further relate to what their home looks like now and how it could be, so they can put themselves in these shoes and feel comfortable and confident with where their house is going. And finally, during the construction phase, we've hopefully effectively implemented our outreach, and everyone will be on board with these new housing materials and designs, and we can spend this time doing checkups and getting feedback from our beneficiaries on their satisfaction throughout this process. This will help us to continue to prototype and view our feedback and understand exactly how we can relate better to our community members and perform more effective outreach for our NGOs in the future.
So now it's time to get down to business. We have two main customer segments. Our first customer segment are low-income housing NGOs working to improve the lives of these homeowners. Some that we work with is Selco, Fedina, and Ciridala. Our second customer segment are material vendors, specifically material vendors focused on eco-friendly and sustainable materials. Two examples of these are Swatching Eco Solutions, which is taking recycled plastic and turning it into plastic floor tiles. Another example is Eco Shelter, which is making corrugated roofing out of bamboo instead of using asbestos-filled cement. Our beneficiary is the homeowners. These homeowners are benefiting from increased knowledge in building practices and in building materials, as well as benefiting by improving their livelihoods from the new homes that these organizations are building. So we have calculated some of our monthly expenses, and first, we want to hire an outreach specialist. We want to pay our average specialist 30,000 rupees per month. When you add on some overhead, some printing costs, and transportation, we think that our total monthly expenses are going to be around 50,000 rupees. Our revenue comes from two different revenue streams. One is our first customer, the NGOs. We are going to be getting revenue from these on a usage per project base of $25,000 or 25,000 rupees per month per project, and we want to have 3 NGOs working at a time. Our second revenue stream comes from advertising. The secondary customers that we talked about, these material vendors, will give us a small advertising fee for promoting their products through our outreach materials in these communities and connecting them with these NGOs so that they can utilize their materials in their future pilot projects. We estimate a monthly revenue of about 30,000 rupees with this model. Now, impact. If Selco hired Kotaka today, we believe that we could reduce 6 weeks of construction delay per project. In 1 year, if Selco did this, they could build 25 more homes per year, which would improve the lives of 100 more people. Overall, this would reduce the amount of energy used by 10 megawatts, or 10 megawatt hours, and in Bangalore, this would prevent 9 tons of CO2 from being released into the atmosphere.
Now, we as Kotaka understand that as outsiders, we might not be able to perform the most effective outreach and build trust as predominantly in these communities as somebody else. And so we are seeking someone a collaborator with familiarity and credibility in these low-income communities, who has a passion for both human and environmental resilience. Now, if this sounds like you or someone you know, could you please get in contact with us? Don't be afraid to reach out. And with that, we think at Kotaka that together we can build a brighter future for all of Bangalore.
Really good points. On the first point, we time and again with the sustainable architects and NGOs that we have talked to, they've brought up the aspirational aspect and how important it is to make that part of our marketing. And so we didn't really talk about it here for lack of time, but we've actually gotten sustainable architecture firms as our clients too. So we've spoken to Masons Inc., Bio Environmental Solutions, and Bamboo House, India, and they kind of said that they encounter the same problems, but in their higher income communities that they target and work with. So for example, Biome said that they've also faced resistance against load-bearing walls, non-column walls. And so for our company, we actually do also have these customers too. And the difference between the NGOs and these kind of sustainable architecture firms, from what we've gathered from talking to them, is that they don't want us to go directly into the communities to talk to the people. Instead, they want to talk to their clients on their own, but they want to use our materials to help make that process of talking to the clients easier. So they would, for example, use our posters, our videos, our virtual walkthroughs, and all of that to be able to communicate more easily with their higher income customers. And we also learned that social media is really important for these higher income focused companies. So not so much for the NGOs. And so we would also have that service available. We would curate social media for these companies.
Just one more thing to add to your first point. In our outreach timeline, actually the first step after we go and introduce and interact with the community for a few days is showing the posters of homes that have been built more of in kind of the higher income, like a dream home, using the sustainable materials to get people to aspire that, oh, I want my home to look like that. So that's actually the first stage of our outreach model.
Coligary, slum, where low-income families are packed together under poor living conditions and without proper infrastructure. This is Bayanpanahali, a slum in Bangalore, India. Malar has lived here for 20 years. Her house is a single room, 10 by 15 feet, shared by 4 people. The decaying asbestos cement roof leaks, filling her home with water and toxic particles. The walls are made of reinforced concrete, a poor insulator with a high carbon footprint, dangerously heating her house and our planet. Fortunately, NGOs such as Salco, Fedina, and Hasuradala have recognized the need for improved sustainable housing within Bangalore slums. The alternative construction materials and methods these NGOs use not only improve living conditions, but also cost less for homeowners and reduce carbon emissions. Yet Malar and her neighbors insist on reinforced concrete. In communities like Bayanpanahali, other materials are not trusted, as they are believed to be inferior. This misconception results in the widespread overuse of concrete and a strong resistance towards alternatives. The problem is a lack of knowledge. The solution is focused engagement and effective education. We are Kotaka, a sustainable consulting firm that conducts community outreach for NGOs focused on affordable, eco-friendly housing. Our outreach tools include posters comparing materials, virtual walkthroughs of completed homes, hands-on material demonstrations, and more. We help bridge the gap between these NGOs and their beneficiaries. Currently, community resistance causes an average 6-week delay per housing project Cellcode implements. With Kotaka helping eliminate these delays, every year, Cellco alone could potentially build 24 more homes, improve the lives of 100 more people, and prevent 9 tons of carbon dioxide from entering the atmosphere. Reach farther with Kotaka and look forward to brighter days.